Oh.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to our tea break today. Apologies to anyone who tried to join us on the Instagram live. For some reason, we were having some technical difficulties. So Ram and I just thought we'd jump on a quick Zoom, get it recorded, and then out to you. But if you've got any questions for Ram or me at all, please just reply in comments or send us a DM, and we can certainly try and do a follow-up, or we'll get back to you individually. So thank you for your patience. So my name is Penny Moises, and I'm the founder and show director of the Clean and Tidy Home Show, which returns to XL London on the 14th and 15th of October, and really hope to see as many of you there as possible. And I'm really delighted to be joined by Ram today. So I'll let you introduce yourself, Ram, and tell us a bit more about why we're chatting today.
Hi, everyone. I might have met some of you at the Clean and Tidy Home Show last year. So my name's Ram. I work at Mind in Tower Hamlets, Newham and Redbridge now. I'm fundraising, events, training development and comms lead. And I'm here today to talk to you about Time to Talk Day. So Time to Talk Day is an awareness day that was set up by National Mind and the Co-op Group. It basically is a day to encourage people to open up the conversation around mental health. It started off as a workplace wellbeing activity, but now we're rolling it out to communities, and it's the National Day of Conversation around mental health. So we encourage everyone to sit down, have a cup of tea or a coffee and speak to the people closest to them or anyone that they're with today around mental health and wellbeing. So
thank you so much for joining us, Ram. So tell me, why is it so important to talk about mental health?
I think, well, generationally, people think that being silent is a form of strength, and that is not true at all. And I think as the tide is turning around the conversation about mental health, people are understanding and seeing that there's strength and vulnerability, and having those conversations and opening up the dialogue and normalizing the fact that mental health is just as normal. Having poor mental health, having mental health illnesses and experiences is just as normal as having a physical illness. And we really need to be more mindful that without mental health, good mental health, there is no well-being, there is no health. So we just think it's a really important thing to talk about.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. So obviously, we are the Clean and Tidy Home Show, and intrigued to get your thoughts on how our homes and how we care for them impacts our mental health, and your thoughts on that.
Definitely. So when I was at the Clean and Tidy Home Show, actually, we did have a conversation about this. I did a little talk about it. I do think that having a clean and tidy space is actually one of the, I think people would say that that's something that would show that you have a good mental well-being. You have good well-being, you have good well-being practices, you're showing that you're prioritizing your house. People think that when you have poor mental health, you don't do housework, you don't look after yourself hygiene wise, you don't do things that feel like a chore to you. I, from my experience, know that I have a very tidy house. A lot of that comes from my anxiety. And so where I think it can be a representation of you trying to put on a mask of the fact that your house is tidy, a lot of the times, the cleanliness of a house, if you know someone's got mental health, it usually is a coping mechanism. It can be a coping mechanism. And I do think we definitely have had this conversation around tidying your home, keeping your house tidy, and also knowing your triggers and why you do that, maybe a bit manically, and also how to stop yourself from doing that. So I think sometimes you can think that someone's doing really well and they've got everything together, but really if you know the person and you know that that's actually a trigger for them to manifest their anxiety, then maybe be aware and have some conversation ready for that.
I know certainly in my experience, I can go from one extreme to the other.
Yeah.
So it can be that I've got too many things going on, or I'm really worried, or I don't have the energy or even the emotional kind of space to deal with decluttering or tidying or cleaning or whatever it is. But then another time it can be that I'm so stressed about something else that I use every opportunity in my home to think that I've got to get this done. I can't possibly do that thing that's really challenging me and weighing me down. So for me, I just totally see how it can go from one extreme to the other.
Yeah, it's definitely a thing that I have lived with my whole adult life and didn't really realize what that was until I worked in mental health. I just thought it was a coping mechanism. There were days where I would stay up till like 6 a.m. doing everything I thought I needed to do so that I could get a head start on the activity that I procrastinated on the whole day before. Did not get it done. And I feel like it's not a healthy way to cope. But at the same time, you can have a clean, it can be a clean house in the sense that you walk in and someone's like, oh my God, it looks so tidy. But you could have drawers stuffed full of stuff because it's just, it can be a mask. And I think we all need to be aware that because it's a common practice to clean your house, sometimes we use that as a coping mechanism, but people don't notice.
Yeah. And I think it's so much of it spans into our lifestyle as well, doesn't it? I know that a lot of the time for me, work is my coping mechanism.
Yeah.
And I ignore, even my physical health, emotional, mental health, because that's my easiest way to channel it. And other times it can manifest itself in other things. And so I think even that kind of analogy of having a really, really clean and tidy space, but then there's things hidden away, it is totally, and a lot of people might see what they want to see in yours, see other people's successes or those Instagram perfect homes or otherwise. But I think we often talk about, you see what people want you to see and hide the other bits. And that in itself is a coping mechanism, right? And so I don't think we should judge people on that, but I think we should just be so mindful that there's lots of things going on for everybody that is often shown in a very different way.
Definitely.
So tell me, a lot of people would think, because you work for Mind, that you are totally on point when it comes to your mental health, exactly what you need to do, that you have all the theories, and there would never be an example where you've struggled. But tell me about your journey, Ram.
Well, for a fact that's not true. My personal journey with mental health, I was diagnosed very early, actually, with depression when I was 15, which is quite scary because back then I didn't really know what that meant. I think now there is a part of me that thinks that because I've been diagnosed with ADHD, that might have actually been that diagnosis, but no one really knew that girls had it as much, and no one was diagnosing women as much back then. So I'm going through this weird thing at the moment where I'm like, have I got depression and anxiety, or isn't my ADHD? So I'm trying to find coping mechanisms. My mental health has been up and down my whole life, and obviously things impact that, like bereavements and just life circumstances. COVID obviously impacted all of us, but working at Mind has helped me understand it's normalized behaviors for me. So now I understand what my behaviors are, and that is actually a normal byproduct of having ADHD or depression or anxiety, and I'm finding better coping mechanisms. It is hard because I think people think that if you work, it's, for example, clean and tidy. If you're working, doing something like that, then obviously all the time your house is immaculate, and there's, right? So same with me. I work in mental health. That doesn't mean my mind is 100% all the time, but that's fine. And I think living with the understanding and the acknowledgement that you're not perfect, you're not trying to be perfect, and to cover it up is almost making it worse, helps me. I like to just think of myself as just a normal person that goes through things just as anyone else, and anyone's perceptions of me, because I work for Mind, isn't something that I have to carry. But it has helped me manage better, for sure. I think you have conversations about mental health every day. So, there's no shame around it anymore. I don't have shame. And I know that I've got coping mechanisms that can get me through. So it's benefited me massively.
Yeah. And we've spoken a few times, even just in this conversation, about the kind of ups and downs. And I think sometimes when we are more likely to compare ourselves to others is when we're at our lowest, and we compare often other people at their best, and also the best bits of the best that they want to show us. And so that void can seem so huge, but as you say, we are all on this journey, and just because they've had a really great day or really great month or year doesn't mean to say that they have come through a journey or been where you've been. But sometimes it's really hard to see that, especially when you're struggling, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. I think that sometimes you can compare yourself. And this is a massive thing. Even when we were doing, we were having conversations about the Clean and Tidy Home show, I was saying to you, people compare themselves all the time. And if we want to have, especially our clients at the show, or we want to, integrate more client working, people coming on board and like maybe discussing things with you guys, or like sharing their experiences, it needs to be on a platform where everyone feels that they are accepted and equal. And that can sometimes be daunting, because I think if you've got poor mental health, you tend to always think that you're not good enough. And having the kind of pretense of, this is clean and tidy, this is, we're showcasing how to make your house tidy, sometimes that is not a priority for a lot of people. But what you've done and what we've done together, which I thought was so amazing, is we tried to make it as accessible as possible for our clients and for anyone that experiences mental health. And we tried to make it seem, and I think we're doing work for the next show to make any barriers that people face that are invisible already, we're trying to like break those down. So when people attend the event and when people talk about things like this, they feel like it's something that they can do. It's not something they have to do, but it's something they want to do. And that's the difference, I think. We're not trying to tell people that this will make them better. We're just saying that you can do it too, and we can support you. So, yeah.
Yeah, and I think it's so important that people know that with the show, it's not just about even people that look after their own homes, but actually you need support, where to go and look for it. So whether you've just had a child and actually you need a doula, or you need to ask for more support from your family if they're able to give it to you. And again, talking about that journey, we need different levels of support at different times. And so we want to make sure that it's totally acceptable, that no matter who you're living with, or what your home, the size of your home, or how you look after it, that this is a really safe place for education, knowledge, support. And so whatever you're looking to secure from the show, that you can get it. And so I'm really, really delighted to be working with you again. But we'd really like to understand as well, in terms of Mind, or indeed other partners that you can recommend, if people need support with their mental health, where can they look?
So if you're local to our community, so if you're in Tower Hamlets, Newham or Redbridge, you can obviously come through to see us. We've got an easy access referral form on our website. We've also got we take phone calls still, because we've got a great navigation department that will signpost you to the right services. We do a lot of internal signposting, but we have external signposting in the borough. But if you are not from Tower Hamlets, Newham or Redbridge, and you want to access mental health support, you can go onto the National Mind website, put in your postcode, find your local Mind, same process. You go through you do your referral, you self-refer, you go through to a navigator, and then someone will support you with anything that you need. And this can vary from employment support, advocacy support, counselling, workplace support, wellbeing and recovery groups. We've got loads of things. So we can signpost bereavement service and everything, but also we have, I think, a really good charity and a really good organisation that we've worked with before, Hoarders UK. If you feel like you are struggling and you are hoarding as a byproduct of mental health or COVID anxiety still, they're a great place to reach out to. And also your local fire brigade can come and support you too, which I think is a really good thing to let people know. I don't think a lot of people know that.
No, and I didn't know how much they support, and that's definitely some more campaigns they're going to be doing to raise awareness. So thank
really
you for
great
attention to that.
They're really great, and they'll come in and they can help you maintain your space, in the sense that they will tell you any fire risks that you have, which obviously if you're hoarding and you've got things on top of things, and it's messy and you don't have an escape route or an access point, they can support you with that too, which is something I didn't know. It's just partnership working that I found all this out. And they also, I believe that our local fire brigade changes smoke alarms for free, but I don't know if that's something that's, I assume it's everywhere, but I can find that out and let people know. But yeah, loads of charities, Samaritans always, and then there's always helplines. If you can't get face-to-face support and you really, really need support, I can actually share an infographic with all of the information on there that you can contact someone if you need some help.
Brilliant, thank you. And I'm so pleased you've listed all of those different options, because I think one thing that we're really conscious of is making sure people know what support is out there for them before things are kind of truly broken. And I think sometimes we think we can't reach out or get support, or we shouldn't have a therapist, or we shouldn't reach out to Mind unless we've really got an issue, you know, often where we put off going to the doctor because we think, well, I'm not that ill, you know, and it's not that, that's not the case. And often things can get worse. And so, you know, reach out anytime, I suppose, is the advice, isn't it?
Yeah, 100%. Always reach out. Never feel like you're alone. Always remember that COVID was a massive leveler. And I think anyone that probably didn't have an understanding of mental health or didn't have any empathy towards it, their mentality on that's probably changed. I think it was one time where everyone felt some aspect of it. And even if that was anxiety, but, you know, people have discovered that they suffer with mental health or mental health, and they didn't know that before. So it's a great time for you to open up. Everyone, I feel, is getting on the same wavelength of not having any stigma around it. I mean, there will be people that do, but there will be someone in your life, I'm sure, or someone like us that can support you. And so just don't suffer in silence and don't suffer alone.
Thank you, Ram. Now, I know you've got to dash off to your event that you're doing in this Time to Talk Day, but final question for you. If our listeners want to support you and your efforts to support the community, what can they do?
So we always have volunteering activities if you wanted to come and volunteer. We also are trying to fundraise at the moment to keep our bereavement service running, which is a massive need in the community. And so we're fundraising at the moment. If you would like to donate, if you haven't had time to have a cake and coffee and you'd like to donate the price of a coffee or a piece of cake today, then you can just shoot onto our website. The link's in our bio, and then there's a donations button on our homepage, and anything you can give would be greatly appreciated.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Ram. Really, really great to talk to you today, and look forward to hearing more from you soon, because we've got lots of exciting plans in the run up to the event. But no, thank you so much for joining us, and really hope everyone that's been listening has enjoyed it. Please let us know any questions or feedback. Take care.
Thank you. Bye. Bye.